Hey there. So, leg two of my road trip recreation, where I am revisiting a road trip that I took with my stepfather when I was, I want to say, 14 years old. Again, this is leg two. We're going to be resuming from where we left off, which is a little airstrip in Junction, Colorado. Just a tiny little nothing airstrip, not much happening. Actually, let me switch over to a little nav map. You can see this a little more clearly here. Yeah, much better. Here's Uniform 13 where we're going to start, and this path is going to take us, we're going to kind of make a beeline towards this next little town here, Panguitch, Utah, and then we're going to cut in on the 106 radial here and end up on the north end of Bryce Canyon. We're going to take a flyover over Bryce Canyon, which we did do on this road trip that I took as a kid. And then we're going to deviate a little bit from the road trip plan and cut over to Zion National Park here and do a flyover there before making a beeline over to Vegas, where we spent the night on this road trip. So I got to do kind of a nighttime approach to Vegas and seeing it for the first time, as kind of this beacon in the middle of nothing. Quite frankly, was pretty wild. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into it, but happy to have anybody fly with me. I'm on the East USA server. I'll be flying out of Uniform 1-3, and I have the Cessna 208 like I normally do, a nice cruising model. I'm going to set my time back a little bit because I'd like to maybe come into Vegas sort of on a sunset or something along those lines. So I'm going to leave it like 4:30 and see how close we get to that idea. Alright, I think we should just go ahead and get after it. I have on my overlay that we're heading out of Kilo Bravo Charlie Echo, but that's not actually true. It's just that the overlay does not acknowledge Uniform 1-3 in Junction as an airstrip in its database. So anyway, enough about that. Let's fly. We're just going to drop right in on the runway here. And we should already be basically oriented in the heading that we're looking for first chunk of this trip. Flight plan is in the Discord. If anybody wants to grab a flight plan and join me. But casual flight. Bryce Canyon is one of those places that I knew nothing about when I got there, and now is a place that I fondly tell people about every time they mention going to Utah. So looking forward to revisiting it from the air. Alright, so here we are. We're just going to hop right into it, waste no time. Not really what I wanted to do. I'm trying to spend a little more time in the cockpit in general. I still find it sort of a claustrophobic experience, but I'm getting a little more used to it and trying to at least kind of start in there and sometimes, if I remember, get back in it for the landings, which I remain terrible at, but have been at least practicing some. Alright, so let's get ourselves up in the air here. Go too strong with our angle of attack. And again, I think we're pretty much going to come out of the gate largely heading the way we want to go. Let's take a look outside, see what it looks like. Already pretty nice. Going to get a little bit of sunshine to guide our way over Bryce Canyon, which is good. I didn't want to get there when it was too dark. That would be sort of disappointing. I have made that mistake before, for sure. Let's see, now we are going to get into some stuff with some elevation, so I am going to have to be cognizant of that and make sure if I throw autopilot in here that I'm doing it at a high enough altitude to clear things. I need to take another look at little nav map and the elevation profile, but we can get ourselves going first here. So far, so good. Of course, Junction doesn't really represent a spot that we stopped on our road trip, but it seemed like a logical place to cut off the flight. And the road that we would have traveled is to the west of us currently, but on the other side of this set of mountains. So we're kind of cutting a slightly off course path in order to get ourselves down to Bryce Canyon. So we'll be about 20 some odd nautical miles in this direction before we sort of cut in through these mountains, and I think things will get somewhat more scenic from there. At this point, I think I'm going to go in and try to dial in a little autopilot and at least get it set up, as I am slowly learning how to do such things. I think we'll start. I see a little warning light telling me I got too much throttle going. I should probably take my flaps back at this point. So let's see. Let's dial it up to like 6,500 for now. Get our altitude hold and our vertical speed. Whoops. It's probably telling me that I don't really know. Yep, that I'm already at that altitude. Make that mistake pretty much every time. That's alright. Forgot we also started at 6,000 feet, so anything not far from that was kind of delusional anyway. Let's go up to 10.5. That's fine. See if we're roughly on our heading here. Looking pretty good. Pretty much have found our line. Alright, we'll be passing this Mount Dutton here on our left, which presumably is more this. But things will be getting increasingly rockier and mountainous over the course of what we're doing here. I think I might be timing this pretty well as far as a sunset into Vegas. Little nav map's showing me at about 2 hours and 8 minutes total flight time. That's if I stick to the course and don't do much in terms of looking at Bryce Canyon and Zion in any more detail, or pausing and taking a look around. See some other people in the airspace, which is nice to see. Already sort of wondering about my elevation, whether I need to expedite my climb, but it seems like I'm okay so far. I'm going to be mostly following this river valley here to my west. Let's take a look around. Definitely some people flying over and around these mountains. I'm not entirely sure what is to the other side, since that sort of seems to be where people actually are. Looks like they're all just sort of on the north side of Bryce Canyon, but we'll stick with our game plan and cut in, take ourselves right to the north side of the park proper. So it looks like we're just about halfway through the 26-mile first leg. That takes us over the town of Panguitch before we will make a turn in towards the rockier terrain. I guess I could give myself a sort of more seasonal ground cover here. I've got it clear skies, but that doesn't mean we can't put a little snow on the ground. Nice. Might play with that a little more as we get into the canyons. See if we can get a nice little mix of rock and snow going. It's pretty nice right here, though. So now this road is the road we would have followed into Bryce Canyon. So leave you to check it out for a second as we make our way towards Bryce Canyon National Park. Can definitely imagine my stepfather and I just rolling down this road, and me kind of discovering just how many different experiences and terrains and places there were to see just in the United States. Totally turned me into the sort of traveler that I still really am, and that this game kind of is helping satisfy my urge for right now. It's fun to recreate these trips and think back to when I knew very little about the world around me. And of course I still don't, but I certainly have more perspective. So I've started sort of east of the path, and I'm now slightly to the west of it, so I'm gonna end up making my turn a little earlier, I guess, to account for that. I'm not sure what elevation is going to be smart for rolling through Bryce Canyon. We shall see. But we should ultimately come upon a bit of a town and want to kind of turn ourselves in front of it to make our move to the east and into what's going on over here. And I guess there's really not much harm in me starting to kind of make that turn now that I'm enjoying intercepting the road that we were on. So I think what I'm going to do is change my heading just a little bit at this point. Still so limited in what I understand about autopilot, but I know how to hold the heading, and I know how to hold the altitude and change it. That's about it. It's not the most impressive assortment of skills, but, you know, having only been flying for a couple of weeks, I've certainly learned a few things. Looks like we do, in fact, have a bit of a town coming up on us. That is the town of Panguitch, Utah, which I have never once heard of, ever. And apparently there's an airstrip over, I guess, is that it right there? Ooh-wee, that would be a heck of a land right now. Alright, so we're going to want to make a turn onto the 106 right as we kind of cut in front of this town. So I'm going to hop back in the cockpit and get us ready to make that. Again, 106 is the general heading. We can make an adjustment. We'll go with 107 for the moment. We'll see where that leaves us. It seems like we'll be turning in towards some folks, which is cool. Otherwise, this is again a fairly empty chunk of airspace. This does seem to be kind of the quiet time on East USA. I'm always surprised. I always expect there to be more nighttime traffic on Flight Sim, but it seems like most of the Twitch viewership and whatever, it's all during the day. vacuum solo right here. Seems like I am safely above whatever's happening here. Doesn't really seem like I'm too much at risk of running into anything, so we'll leave that for now. Let's see, what's that looking like? That's pretty nice. I always like to keep the sun kind of low in the sky when I'm choosing what it all looks like. No, I might dial back the level of snow a little bit though. Tough. I like a little snow, but I like to see the rock too. Like, I wish I could have it be like real spotty, you know? Like that, maybe. Let's go with that for a while. Alright. Sort of a best of both worlds. Pretty well on my line right now. It'd be funny, anybody just would hop on this stream right now and hear John Fishman going off. I have no idea what's going on. Be like, nope, that was a mistake. Not much risk of that, though. Usually stays pretty quiet on this stream. Uh-oh, what just happened there? I got confused for a second. It's like, why is my overlay showing 1% of the flight? And that's because I had to start it from the airstrip that we are flying directly towards right now, which is the Bryce Canyon airstrip. It actually has 2 runways. And is big enough to be recognized by the FlyLive, which is surprising that it would be larger than the quote-unquote municipal airport that I flew out of in Junction. But anywho, we'll see what kind of airstrip it is, because we're going to fly right past it here in a second. And then actually start our entry into Bryce Canyon, which I'm excited for. Let's see what we've got. That's kind of the main event for me. Looks like we are most of the way through this 17.7 mile leg. So we're going to be ready to make a turn here toward the southwest on Radial 203. Punctual Pine right behind me. What's going on? But way up there. Excuse me. Probably going to find myself having to get a drink refill here shortly. Maybe when we make the turn between Bryce and Zion, I'll have a 34-mile leg to work with. But alright, but we need to make our turn here in a second. So here's your airstrip down to our right. Nice. This is our cue to make our turn, I would say. We're going to let ourselves head into the canyon first, though. Try to be patient with this. I don't
exactly know where I'm going, but I'm gonna try to figure it out as best I can. I think. Alright, here we go. Turn to 203 right now. So taking us past due south and back somewhat to the west. Come on. I'm so bad at dialing this thing up. There we go. Alright, let's escape out and see what kind of line that's going to give us. Here we go. Right over some terrain. That's nice. Beautiful. A little off the line I'm supposed to be on, though. Let's be honest. Got myself a little out to the east of my line, so I turned a little late to do what I was intending. Not a tragedy, but it's a question of whether I want to try to fix it. I don't know, we can sort of fly right over the stuff here. I can't think of a really compelling reason not to. We are somewhat off, again, the path that we would have taken on our road trip, which would have been more probably this, I'm thinking, which looks like, yeah, I would say that road out there. But we're following close enough to serve our purpose here, and this is pretty darn nice, so can't think of a reason not to just kind of keep going right over the top of it. As we head, this is all really Bryce Canyon National Park at this point. We're heading sort of directly right over it. Like over here, I think is basically like the visitor center-y kind of stuff. It's kind of hard to see that area down there. I think so. They're pretty nice. Here, I'll show you. I actually do have a couple of pictures from this road trip, and some of them are from Bryce Canyon. That's me, like 13, 14 years old, experiencing the West Coast and life on the road for the first time. And then the other picture I'll show you is, let's see here. See if I can get it. Switch to, yeah, and there's the man of the hour, the guy we call Opa, my stepfather, who is now my kid's grandfather, and met me in Salt Lake City. I flew out by myself. He met me there, and we drove down to Bryce, to Vegas, to Death Valley, and on to San Diego. So we're kind of in the middle of the trip right now, and I have to say, I give him a lot of credit for kind of putting me on the road to being a traveler full time. Or not full time, but like lifelong. I'm pretty sure I would not be nearly as interested in a flight simulator. Although I had all the geekiness. Look at that. That is just nice. That's cool. They really need a hotkey for me to toggle off this HUD. I don't like that I have to like go into the school. I am actually, since nobody is directly flying with me and I'm not changing anybody's day, I'm going to turn it off for a second and get a picture. Let's do assistance, user experience, switch this to off, apply and save, go back, resume. Yeah, there you go. That's alright, because we can do that. Wait for that cursor to go away. Ugh, that's not what I meant to do. Dummy. Let's see if I can get it more. I should learn to do this stuff with the drone, but that's alright. That's cool. Alright. Happy with that. Let's turn back on the HUD. Definitely needs a hotkey that I can bind there. I do not like having to go to the menu to change that. Alright. Punctual Pine still kind of floating behind me if you're listening to the stream. Shout out to you. Alright, so we are actually, look at that, the sun's hitting it, afternoon sun, pretty nice. Alright, we're not too far from already kind of making a cut through and following the road again, which I think is running along here. So we will hop into the plane for a second. Change this heading down to 150 real quick. Yep, there we go. And once we make this next turn in just a little bit, I'm gonna go grab a drink. Since I clearly need it. So the next move is ultimately going to be a turn toward out of Bryce Canyon, which is this whole ridge right here, which is outstanding. That's cool. We'll make a move toward Zion. So we're going to actually make that cut move right now onto the 250 radial. So big turn, big turn, big turn. I'm a little late with it too. Or a lot late with it, as the case may be, but which I'll be honest, if I was at a lower elevation I might be worried about. We'll see how far south of my intended line I end up, and I think it will be fine anyway, because I really don't think I have an elevation problem here. And then we will make our move to Zion, which is another beautiful park. See what's going on outside the plane again. Look at that. Beautiful. Utah, folks. Utah. Still seeing Punctual Pine out there. I measure things up there. Alright, now that I'm on this line, I'm going to get a drink real quick. Alright. Much better. So let's see, things are still looking nice. We were definitely south of our line, so I think I'm going to want to correct and come back a little bit, because I don't want to shortchange myself on Zion. I want to go more that way to get to the north end, so we're just going to, kick it maybe 6 or 7 degrees, and
either come back to our line or even maybe cross over it a little bit. But this is still some nice terrain we're looking at right now. Still some people around. Still see punctual pine behind me. Some pretty nice terrain right there. Almost like I should have come at this from the other side. Look at that. Very nice. It's no wonder that I really felt a way about things after visiting this part of the country. It is really pretty spectacular and diverse. Just Utah alone covers so much different terrain. I mean, this looks nothing like Arches and Canyonlands. Two places I've actually never been, but only seen in pictures. But it doesn't look like this. Still showing a solid hour and a half of fly time if we make no real deviations from the flight path. I actually did a variation on this flight earlier today that I had to disappear for a little bit, so I let the plane just kind of like, I'll show you, kind of beeline down. Let's see. Sometimes the little nav map doesn't like to respond after it hasn't been touched for a while. We'll let it all catch up with itself. There we go. Still a little sluggish. Come on now. Asking it to do too much to actually stay connected with the flight sim and respond to my mouse movements, I guess. That's alright though. Mostly we want our flight to not crash on us, so won't ask the computer to do too much at the same time. Streaming and flying seems to be enough for it most of the time. So now it's showing 15% completion. I see on the overlay, which is 15% from Bryce Canyon. Doesn't include the junction leg that we started with. Getting closer to the point where we're almost back on our line now. See, pretty close. So we could consider kind of now taking things back to the intended line of 250, and I think that would be pretty reasonable. Don't think we'd be shortchanging ourselves too much at that point. Sit in the cockpit for a second. Again, trying to spend more time doing this. Oh, this is actually a pretty stylish plane, and I don't really give it enough. I just like the feel of it, that's why I pick it, because it feels comfortable for me to fly it with the complete lack of skill that I have. Chill and just watch it do its thing for a second. I always forget like what the hat switch does while I'm in
inside the plane doesn't do the same thing as it does when you're in the chase cam, where it gives you that view. And again, Punctual Pine, Terra Prime 12, what's up? Who's that over here? There's just sort of a crew out here. Sabino 345 out there. Everybody picking a lovely itinerary for themselves. Really can't argue with this. Again, looking not too bad on a kind of sunset-ish Vegas landing. We'll see. I might be a little behind it. I'm still showing an hour 23 to our destination in Vegas at what is it? Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra. So yeah, like I was saying, I did kind of a practice run on this, but not exactly the same itinerary, but it did give me a chance to see what the approach at Vegas was like and make a, for me, not altogether terrible practice landing. Really need to practice over and over and over again in order to really figure it out, and then figure out how to do it on bigger planes. Like, I'm getting better with this plane. I can almost control it. But there's one of those landing challenges that involves a big plane, and I just can't figure out how to slow it down reliably. So it's clearly something I'm not getting, because I've watched other people do it on videos, and they just get after it. They just take it right down to 160 knots and just hold it there. And I'm like, you gotta be using some sort of like autopilot or something that I don't really understand how it works on that plane. So what I really need to do is have some people start watching me so that I can hit them up for tips. Have them watch me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. People are pretty good at that. Not too far now from the sort of opening of Zion. From the top again. We'll be coming at it from the north side, making a move through it. Take a look at the map for a second. You can see this is basically the tourist road through Zion National Park, so we're going to fly right over it. And then from there we're just going to make a beeline pretty much to Vegas. That'll be the longest stretch of this thing. We got a little turn there, mostly to roughly follow the road that we followed on our road trip, at least the one that I would assume we would have followed from Bryce Canyon to Vegas. And we'll look forward to making this turn fairly soon. There's a 34-mile leg there, and we are almost at the end of it. We've got basically some water down here, like a river. Is it down there? Can't tell. Or, oh, maybe what they mean is here. Yeah, I think that actually seems more likely. Alright, so we're going to make a turn on the 174 heading here. Really just a second. It's making me nervous to look at it from that angle. It's freaking me out. Alright, let's hop in and make this turn. What did I say, 174? Okay, we'll make it now. Let's get started here. We're going to be late again, and we really want to hit this one as dead on as we can, because it's going to take us right over the park and through. Yeah, here we go. Here, let's hop out and see what we see. Nice. Oh, hey, Bark Vader, thanks for the follow. Pretty nice right there. So here we are heading into Zion National Park. Looks like we should be pretty well paralleling the road at this point. Let me see. We may be a little ahead of it. I think that should be... I don't know if that's a road or if that's just sort of the river that runs through it. Anyway, nobody wants to look at a map. Cheers, Bark Vader. Much love, much love. Check this out. Right? Beautiful. Still feel like I'm pretty well on time to get me a sunset as we make our way into Vegas. Still got about 75 minutes expected at our current rate. This is pretty nice. Yeah, this seems like the main channel right here through Zion National Park. Beautiful. Did a pretty good job setting that sort of snow level so that we still get some green, but also the snow depth. Didn't really know I could do that until today, so keeping with my theme of trying to learn something new just about every time we do this, today I learned how to mess with the snow. We can do more or less, but I'm sort of happy with it where it is. Snow here for a bit. That's cool. But I'm almost inclined to go the other way with it. More rocks. So that's without me adding any additional snow depth. Nice. Already about halfway through the park. Yeah, you can see this is the tourist road that my stepfather and I would have, well, actually, I said that we did not go to Zion. We only went to Bryce. This is a little bit of a deviation from the original road trip path. Not by much, though. We're about to reconnect with the road we would have been on in bypassing Zion anyway. And then we will basically follow that path through to Vegas, which will be sort of the longest continuous leg where we're not really making any turns. Here's we'll have 79 miles on the 238 heading. Not quite yet, though. Very soon. We're going to make the turn because we're coming out of the park here, basically. This is the south side of Zion. Nice. Let's take a look back at it real quick. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Alright, we're going to prepare to make our turn to the southwest. Probably about 5 seconds. So we're going to hop into the plane, get ready to make this change to 238. I think we timed that pretty well. We'll see. Let's take a look at what the map's telling us. Lots of people in the airspace now. Looks like I hit that pretty well. Looks like I'm going to be right about on that line. That's nice. So anyway, long leg, and then we're going to make a turn, and then that pretty much brings us into our approach down at Vegas. So this will be sort of our longest continuous stretch where we'll get to kind of enjoy this sunset, mostly, I think. More people in the airspace as we move towards Vegas. We still got this crew that's been kind of flying along with us. Chetchers out there. Terra Prime still kind of following along with us. Very nice. So yeah, now we're going to be heading again out of the more mountainous regions and into the flats again. So maybe we will kind of hang with this for a few minutes. This will look pretty nice in about 20 minutes, I bet. This is the most people we've seen in the airspace since we took off. But we are approaching Vegas, where we will see lots of people in the airspace. And see if we can land a plane without embarrassing ourselves. It's been going so far, pretty well so far today. I've joined a couple of other group flights of other streamers and flew around Taiwan. That was pretty amazing. And that involved like 3 different landings, and I actually made them all, so I was pretty happy with myself there. Last night I was on a group flight that ended at basically at the runway at Mount Everest, which is tiny and insane. And after what was otherwise a great flight, completely threw the plane into the buildings that surround the runway. Sort of a tragic ending to what had been otherwise a great flight. It was most disappointing. So anyway, we are now outside of Zion National Park and making our way towards our destination of McCarran, Las Vegas, as we recreate the road trip that pretty much made me a traveler when I was 14. Salt Lake City to Vegas to San Diego through Bryce and through Death Valley, which will be the next leg of this. It'll be basically Vegas, Death Valley to San Diego. And my memory says that we rolled pretty much straight from Death Valley to San Diego, but I may try to make that flight plan slightly more interesting by finding something along the way that grabs my interest. Bear with me, I'm going to make a little change here. Let's see. Bear with me for a second. Thought I had something picked out and I have lost track of it. Let's do this. Not sure what the volume level on this is going to be, so bear with me. Take another look at our map and see where we are here. So you can see we are still early on this particular leg as we've made our way out of Zion. Pretty much beelining towards the next waypoint. Pretty well on our line. Not too bad. Again, little nav map wanting a second to catch up with itself, but so we will make sort of a beeline for this waypoint. We're really just following the road mostly that my stepfather and I would have been on, and this was now 30 plus years ago, that this road trip. And then we'll follow it in and we'll make an approach, and we will probably make the approach on when I tested this, it was on 26L, so on the left side there. We'll see. We'll probably let ATC tell us. There we go. Much better. Pretty nice. I think we're timing pretty well for a kind of a sunset into Vegas, though, with any luck. Let's take another look back behind us, because that was a pretty spectacular area that we ran through. See, we've picked up some more viewers. I'm like, well, I wish you had seen the sort of the visual highlight of this trip, which is the Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park segments. But it's all still pretty spectacular. Like, Utah really provides. Well, at some point we will no longer be in Utah, and I guess that's coming pretty soon, although I'm going to be honest and tell you, I don't know. Yeah, okay, if I look at
I'm looking at the right thing here. If I'm understanding what I'm looking at, then this line here would be the state border. We'll actually cross over for, I guess this is Arizona for a second, before we end up in Nevada. Passing by the sound of St. George to our right, I suppose. Let's see if we see that or not. Guess that's that right there. She does have an airstrip somewhere down in there. Very nice. We're picking up some additional groups around. Cheshire's behind me, Starboy over there. This crew's been kind of off to the south pretty much since we were in Bryce Canyon, I feel like. So they must have similar ideas ultimately. That's very nice. I'm showing 58 minutes at this point, approximately, to McCarran International Airport. Sitting up here at 10,500 feet. I guess I could bring it down. I think I'm kind of out of any sort of elevation danger at this point, so if I want to get a little closer to the terrain, I don't really have a compelling reason not to. Let's go down to like maybe 8,500. So we'll just dial this in. Vertical speed. Shut down slowly. Oh, I don't even have altitude. Hold on. Never mind. Let's try that again. Again, I'm really just clumsy with the controls in general. Let's see. Oh, am I already? Seems to be taking me down. Well, that's not me. I was like, hold on, I'm already descending. He's not talking to me. Comms are a little bit beyond me at this point. But if you listen to him enough, you start to pick up at least some of what's going on there, and I think it'll be something that I just another thing to geek out on. Definitely love listening to like the VATSIM controllers on their streams. Much respect to those folks. I have no idea how they know what to do or what's going on. It's nuts. Still pretty nice considering that this is substantially flatter than what we were looking at. Now look at that. You're like, that's not protected or national park land at all. It's just the amazing turf that sort of permeates Utah. It's good stuff. Grand Caravan's holding up well, 33% fuel. I think that's going to be okay. I'll be honest that I don't really know. I think we started at 50%. I know it says we're only 46% way through, but we also came from Junction and not actually from the Bryce Canyon airport indicated by the departure identifier. So, I don't know. Worst case scenario, I'll add some fuel to it. We'll make it, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. I'm still not entirely convinced that my altitude hold is actually it's doing its thing. Alright. I guess I just have it set at a really slow descent rate.
It's 400 feet per minute is pretty slow. Ultimately, I'm really right on my line at this point, so we're heading exactly the way we want to be. And if I look down, let's see, I think that this would be the road that we would have been following on this road trip that I'm really enjoying revisiting, quite frankly. It was such a pivotal moment in my teenage years. So, couldn't really speak to like what time of day it would have been that we would have been passing by here, but I would have imagined it would be, after a solid day of coming from Salt Lake City all the way down through Bryce and spending the night in Vegas. My stepfather, Opa, as we call him now, is my kid's grandfather. He seems to remember it as pretty much like a 2-day trip, and for me it seems just like so much more epic and longer, but it certainly set me on a course for what would become ultimately a bunch of like cross-country road trips that I'm hoping to like maybe recreate in the sim. We're still really well on our line here. I get a little nervous as we get into this sort of hillier stuff, but I think it's a question of whether this ridge potentially poses a problem or not. I have a couple options. I could sort of bear off in a heading that means I don't have to worry about it, which is maybe what I'm going to do, or I could let myself go back up 500 feet and not worry about it that way either. Tough call, tough call. It's really not supposed to matter. I'm not really supposed to hit a problem based on the elevation plan that I have. I'm not supposed to encounter an issue here, but I'm also supposed to be more over here. So, alright, let's before we get there, let's just make a little bit of a course correction to put ourselves around this, and then we'll cut back. So we're going to end up flying over the town of Mesquite, which I think I can't tell what state that is. Well, it's difficult for me to understand everything about the map when it's so busy. I guess that's Nevada. Just over into Nevada. We'll be passing here in a second. I believe us to be in Arizona right now. Over this little sort of northwest corner as we connect from Utah to Nevada ultimately here. So now I'm going to turn it back because we don't want to get too far off our heading, the 238 heading that we've been on. We just wanted to take ourselves out of some danger right there. We've got Illust 50 up ahead of us. Oops. I keep thinking when I'm in the chase cam, that looks behind me, which is what I really wanted to do. And look, we got a little posse rolling back there. And if anybody on the stream is flying with me, howdy. Thanks for flying. And if not, and it's all random people, shout out to them too. Alright, so it looks like I've safely gotten myself out of danger. Am I back on the actual heading that I want to be on? Let me see here. Let's go back to 238. Much better, much better. Pretty clear from here, but now, we get to kind of look at this as we go by. It's pretty solid. But I continue to find that to be the unmistakable view. Look at that. Now I want to get that back with a little snow on it. Yeah, look at that. So look at that, right? So there's that. And then take a look again at let me see. that, or let's see, yeah, or that. And again, let me that. Well, now we're a little past. Now it's a little more sort of vertical. You see a little less of that horizontal striation, but comparing that with that. Good times. Meets with some of my memories. Here's the road that we would have been traveling on, so we're again doing a pretty good job following that path on this road trip recreation. You can get a real feel of the open road here and what it would have been like to just be cruising down this path in that sort of slightly snow-covered condition that those pictures showed. It's like pretty much takes you there. I really like that about this. As we do appear to be, not too badly timed for a sunset into Vegas. We'll see how dark it is. Not much for a night landing, but I'll give a shot to whatever is thrown my way. Worst thing I can do is completely destroy this plane. And damage is turned off and no harm, no foul. So won't be the first time I've driven a plane right into the ground, and will definitely not be the last. I did end up a little bit north of my line from making this move, but not in any way that I think is actually impactful. We're going to be flying over the Mesquite airstrip here in just a second. I guess that's what that is down there. You can see it. So that puts us... Basically, that airstrip is the corner of Nevada. Look at this. Right there. That's basically the corner. So here we go into our destination state for the evening of Nevada, right as we pretty much right about, yeah. So let me see how far we are from our waypoint. Looks like we're about 14 miles from our waypoint. No, sorry, 14 minutes, 26 miles. And about 41 minutes or 73 miles from our destination in Vegas. Let's take another look behind us because that just never gets old. That is nice. Pretty much right into the eyes of the sun, huh? Logical angst over there in the Strike Eagle. I probably should do more switching up of planes, but what I'm really trying to do is actually learn how this one works a little bit at a time, and understand more and more of what the buttons do. And I've been starting to run through the checklists, and so I have a better understanding of maybe a third of the things in here. But I have no idea how the computer works really, or how to program this stuff. I sort of do. I now know how to put a destination in there, although I haven't started doing that. I guess I could. But it's all a distraction from just doing the flying. I'll learn. Having new things to learn is what keeps me interested, anyway. So I don't want to learn it all at once and then lose interest right away. So let's see, I think this leg is about halfway through. No, actually we're quite a bit closer to the next waypoint than I realized. Not entirely sure what our waypoint is, just kind of where we overlap the road again. Let's see if we can see the road, so see how we're about to overlap the road. So not this one, but I think the next point at which our heading overlaps the road is our point to turn and basically be on our last leg before we make our approach into Vegas. Somebody flying way off in the distance back there. Jumbo shrimp out there. Brent got fame. Sure, could be quite a few people sort of ultimately on their way to Vegas, but I just like seeing this road, because every time I see the road, it brings me right back to the road trip itself. It's cool. I would say this plan is having exactly the personal impact I hoped it would. It's taking me right back to a time and a place. It's fun to share it with some people. This is kind of the quiet time for flight sim streaming, which is sort of why I like it. I don't think I can handle like the rated by 139 people. Like, it's a little more exposure than I'm looking for right now. I like to kind of hide and do my thing here. You know, have not had any such raid or anything like that. I think there was a moment when there were 6 people watching tonight, and that may be the highest number I've ever seen on that statistical panel. That's cool. I'm flying anyway. I'm doing the things anyway. And I have found that it was useful to me to be able to see like all different skill sets of people playing this game. Which is sort of what compelled me to throw my own hat in the ring. Look at that. Come on. That's dope. So here's where we're separating from the road again. And when we reconnect with it, we're going to want to make our turn. Looks like it's going to be somewhere up here. Oh man. Sometimes the longer the game goes, the harder it's it has to work to keep up with itself. It's like you finally burn through all of the like rolling cash and all that kind of stuff. It really seems like maybe at this point I could even take it down a little closer. I don't know, I kind of like the high level view too. Sort of a mixed bag. But I have made the mistake of trying to get my plane to descend too quickly, and so it doesn't really hurt for me to at least evaluate an approach. I'm already basically at the elevation that I'm supposed to be at when I'm 19.4 miles out, and I'm at least double that right now. 54. 30 minutes to fly, approximately. Again, it looks like just trying to kind of evaluate where we're going to cross the road here. Somewhere about, yeah, I'm thinking. At which point we are going to make a move to heading 209er which is going to put us pretty much on a beeline to McCarran. And what I'm going to want to do at some point is kind of deviate off that and probably take control, get out of autopilot at that point, and try to fly her in. We'll talk about it once we make this turn. We're coming up on where we want to make this heading change, so I think we're going to go ahead and make the turn now. On heading 209er. Seems like I dialed in here. So close. There we go. Let make that turn. Then we got to think about how we want to play this elevation game. We don't really have to do anything for another 30 miles, so I'm probably going to let it ride for the moment. Maybe I'll take it down to like 7,500 or 6,500, just to have less work to do. Just gotta be careful about not like stalling it out here. Okay, if I'm gonna go down to like 6,500. And vertical speed, and not that fast. Like 500, that's fine. Watch that do its thing here. So far, so good. I turned a little early, and so I'm a little bit off. I'm a little further off from the road line than I'm even supposed to be at this point, and that's all right. I made maybe a sort of a tactical error in that I could have chosen to go right into this airport right here. And instead, we are going to make the move down to the proper airport, as it were, McCarran. And again, we'll talk to ATC and see what they want me to do, but I am anticipating that I'm just going to try to make a move into 26L if it's just going to assign me the same approach again. We'll find out. But it's going to be a little bit before talking to ATC is going to make any sense. It's pretty nice. Doesn't say I see anybody that I would classify as flying with me per se, but the airspace remains busy. I'm actually thinking that what I am going to do is, in the not too distant future, make a move due south to kind of end up here, so that I'm down over this water, so I can make the approach kind of dead on, which isn't really how you're supposed to do this, but I'm inclined to try to give it a shot here. So see what I'm saying? Bring it straight down and that way. Maybe right down around whatever this is, and we can kind of fly over that. Yeah, I'm already a little past that though, so I guess what I'm going to do is hop in, make a move just due south, just straight up a 180 heading, and follow that, and follow whatever's going on here for a little bit. I can't really see any disadvantage in doing that. So it's a little bit off our path from the road trip, but that's all right because it's going to serve its own purpose here, and then give us a decent approach into McCarran. Not sure how that's going to affect our sort of estimated time. It shouldn't really affect it too much because I was going to have to make some sort of approach at the end anyway. And look at this. Sunset starting to become a factor. Look at that, see? I think I'm going to time this pretty darn well. I'm showing 22 minutes for us to get a little bit of a sunset. So again, we're heading due south now. With the intent of making a hard turn to the west and finishing strong into McCarran here. Try to drop her down without too much chaos. And then if I was good, I would like figure out how to taxi to the proper place in McCarran, but I haven't quite gotten to that level of realism. We'll see if I can figure it out without trying too hard. Oh, I realized I'm leaving everybody to stare at this map. I'm ultimately a terrible streamer, but that's why I'm doing it. Figure things out, learn, grow, understand the stuff my kids use, all that. All those reasons. This is pretty fun though. Flight Sim is an amazing, amazing application. But honestly, it's really the group thing that makes it fun. Like, I had no idea until I started watching other streamers that there were people like flying in groups, and I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to run trips and have people follow me, and yeah, I haven't really compelled a lot of that. It happened actually on the very first time I streamed. Somebody hopped in and flew with me for like a couple hours, and that was great. Hasn't really happened much since, but that's alright, because I'm flying anyway. I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing, so it's not really changing my day, but that's sort of the long-term idea. So I don't want to go too much lower, and I don't really know what's going on here. Like if I look at, well, I'm no longer on my line, so my elevation profile is no longer particularly accurate. I gotta see what our heading is on this runway. It's 258 is our actual heading. Okay. So that explains. So I wonder if I tick like... I never checked my barometer setting. I really should have. Now that I understand even what that is. Okay, what is 29.92? Oh, did I dial that in already? Maybe I did. See, it was 30.47, but what I really need is the METAR for where we're going, not for where we are. How do I do that? It's one of those things I do not know how to do. It is now showing me the METAR for this. Okay. Oh, and then it crashed completely. My word. Trying to get my dashboard back up and running, but it absolutely... I don't even remember what our original... or what, I don't remember what was up there as the departure ICAT. Was Bryce Canyon, but I don't know what it was called. Let's see if I can use the search function on this. Pardon me for a second, as I'm a little distracted. I was Kilo Bravo Charlie Echo. That's what it was. And then Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra. I'm just trying to reset up my overlay at this point. Give it a second here. All I was trying to do was get the barometric pressure here, which is 30.48. So I need to dial that in because that's going to affect what altitude we perceive to be at right now. It's quite a bit different than what I had it set at. So this is going to be a meaningful thing. Yeah, see, my plane's dipping down because it's like, oh, we've been totally misreading the altitude. And it makes me want to immediately take this thing back up because I don't know what I'm about to hit. I'm like, that could be really bad. A tragic event at this stage in the flight. We're certainly getting the sunset. Yeah. Pretty close here. But I really have gone off my line that the flight plan would indicate I was about to fly here. As I am now, you know, up over here, and that was supposed to be over here. So we're gonna just take it down over this water, and then we're gonna make a turn. I really should also change this 12 degrees, but in which direction? To this way, 168. Let's see if that puts me more perpendicular to the runway. I'm forgetting that there's sort of a magnetic and true south thing happening here. That 180 isn't really taking me perpendicular to the runway, which is actually at a heading of, what did I say? 258? Yeah, 258. Even though it looks so dead east-west. So we're making a little adjustment to our trajectory so that it's more due south with relationship to the runway. And we are getting to the point, though, where I need to start considering our approach and descent and all of that kind of stuff. We are not going to make our turn prematurely here. Oh, Nellis approach, talking to me. Or we're talking to it, I should say. Trying to enter some Class B airspace right now. I vaguely know what that means. Vaguely. Alright, we are 14 minutes from our approach to Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra at McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas, bringing in the Grand Caravan on this second leg of our road trip recreation. It's been pretty fun. Alright, so as we get out over this water here, that's where we're going to need to make our move. I think what I'm going to be looking for is to kind of hit the back of the water feature, but really more like when I'm parallel with this. And I'm turning that way. So let me think about this for a second. That is where we're headed. Like that way, ultimately. Alright, I'm going to think about this. I think I'm going to make a little turn now so that I don't really have to worry about some of this sketchier looking rocks and outcroppings and whatnot. That's looking pretty good. Let's not lose sight of this sunset. I might be a little early on it, actually. Ultimately here. Be a little early. Which is also okay. Couldn't really be sure. Now at this point, I think I want to maybe complete my turn to, was it 228? Might be a little early. That might have been a little early. I might have to correct that as I fly in. And then I think we need to start taking this altitude down. We're at 2,000 feet is our actual altitude. So, alright, so we're going to do that. I don't know how much distance we have. 21 miles to get down. Alright, so we need to not wait too long on this. At some point, we're going to take this thing out of autopilot, and we're going to take over. We're going to slow her down. So we're going to start taking the airspeed or the engine back a little bit at this point. We've been running it pretty hefty the whole time. We'll let ourselves just kind of naturally start to descend and lose a little bit of airspeed. We still do have a ways to go, so we don't want to get too crazy with it. Trying to see if I'm really heading the right heading at this point. It doesn't feel like I'm making the turn I need to be making. And I need to be heading more due west at this point. So that's something I need to fix. Yeah, I don't know. What says we're on 258. Yeah, that's my bad. It's a mistake on my part. Alright, we got time to correct there. Lots of planes coming in on these. Like, I'm basically following some legit planes at this point. Alright, so now if I get on this line, I can change this back to 258 right about now. Let's see where that leaves us. Shouldn't be too bad. That's where we're going, I think. I think we are coming right in on it. So we're going to talk to ATC at this point, see what they tell us. I want to make the landing right here.
Las Vegas Tower, Cessna November, Echo Uniform Tango Romeo Lima is 16 miles east.
See what they give me.
100 feet with Mike to land. Fly straight, runway 26 right.
Oh, they want me on the right one. Okay, that's fine. Oh, no, that's good. We'll do 26 right. I'll take another look at it. Okay, so that's actually that gives me a little more space to work with. They're giving me the longer runway. Oh, and they're giving me a pattern too. All right, well, we better move a little bit. I think I'm going to take over at this point. I'm going to hop out. No, well, I can't take over. Okay, that's off. Sort of feel like I'm a little maybe lower than I need to be. Here we go, the pressure begins. So we are going to make a sunset landing at McCarran International Airport. On runway, what did I say, 26 right? Yeah, 26 right. Hoo-wee, where Southwest Flight 448 is making its landing right now. Very nice. It's cool to be able to see like the real planes. Cinema. And here's my derpy little plane coming in behind. Alright, let's get out of this. Let's pay attention. See if we can get in here without... I'm too fast. Got too much speed coming in. Just give me that straight approach, which is nice. I've had to do all these like crazy, like, you know, crosswind and downwind legs and stuff, and this is just like, come on in. I'm like, great. That makes sense to me. Still a little hot coming in on this. Just a little spicy with it. Alright, if we get down just a little bit, I can drop some flaps and then I'll feel much better, but come on. Just a little hot. Take a little power off, but I don't want to take too much power off because then I end up just like falling out of the sky. do not want to be gaining elevation really though, so we'll take a little more power off, and we'll keep the nose up a little bit here and see if we can just drop just a little more speed. No, don't glitch out now. Don't do it. Man, if I could just get this speed down just a little bit here, and if my PC could catch up to itself. Come on, always on the landing. I'm not sure why. I don't know if there's so many more objects being rendered so closely, but I always have this problem where things just start. The computer just no longer wants to play. It's like, come on, bud. So I really need to be able to drop these flaps. I think, what happens if I just take them down right now? Yeah. Let's just go with that. Let's go with that. You gotta drop in though. You should drop in here. There we go. Not too much. There we go. Alright, a little gas though, a little gas. No, don't be gaining all this speed on me. We're gonna use our patience. This is where I run into problems. Let's go, patience. Drop the speed. There we go. Alright. Still thinks I'm too fast. See if I can shed it, but I don't like to shed too much here. Little power back in. See you do that. You're immediately like, woo, you're too fast now. Like, come on now. I gotta have a little power to get there. I know it says I'm too fast, but I can land her at 75, dang it. And this is a long approach. This is totally a test of my patience, though, which I like. It's part of what appeals to me about this. Oh man, I'm picking up speed again. I just don't understand how people hold this steady and don't pick up speed through that. Like, I just have not figured that out yet. Alright. Oh, don't pitch. Don't be fast. Let's not be fast. Coming in after it here. Try not to pick up too much speed through here. Continue our descent. Stay somewhere near these boxes. Do not pick up too much speed through here. Don't do it. Alright, we're getting closer here. I don't know what the actual elevation is here. I think it's... I can't read it on a little nav map at this point. I'm too close to worry about it. We're just going to have to go with what we see. So far we're tracking pretty nicely. Conditions feel pretty good. I don't feel like we're going too fast here. I'm still maintaining a little engine power, so I'll have something to cut out when we hit the threshold here. Can I keep my line? That's always a question mark. I'd like to drop just a little bit more speed, but not much. This is actually looking pretty good right now. Moments of truth. Oh, it gets unnerving when like all the boxes disappear and you're just kind of left to figure out. And this is always the point at which I think I'm going to come up short. I'm like, oh my god. Even though I'm at the top of that box right there, right? You're like, is he gonna come up short? And you're like, no, I don't think so. Alright. We are going to wait another second. I'm going to pull out throttle here. Try not to pitch it down. I'm just going to let the plane kind of fall. Let the plane kind of fall here. 65. Coming in. Here we go. Oh, turn it back. Don't lose your line. Settle down. A little bouncy. Little bouncy. Not tragic. Not tragic. Definitely a walk away landing. Not too bad. Definitely have done some worse landings than that. For sure. Still working on it though. Gonna follow our taxi path here. Welcome to Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra Las Vegas International Airport. I gotta break this down a little bit if I'm gonna make this taxi turn. Over to our hold short. Oh, no, I've been rerouted. Interesting. Did I like not turn soon enough? Was it not convinced I was gonna do it? Not sure what to make of that. Redirect. Pretty nice. Good little itinerary there. Bryce Canyon, Zion were beautiful as ever. Very successful, I would say. I do not know where this is taking us at this point, but this is one long, long runway. Way longer than I needed. I don't know where this is taking me right now. We're just going with it though. I kind of like exploring some of these airports on the ground. I'm just starting to learn how all that works. The runway systems and the taxiways and the hold shorts. I'd never heard that term before. So, just so many things to learn. It's fun. Alright, we're rolling in here. Check it out.
121 decimal niner, Cessna Tango Romeo Lima.
Yeah, no, I don't. I no longer know where it was trying to send me. I'm like, can I just get to some small plane parking? I feel like small plane parking is going to be... I actually have no idea. I can't tell from the runway map. We'll just go to some sort of big boy gate and Parker. I'm not afraid. There's like all sorts of planes all over the place here. Remember one of these big boys right here? Take it right on in. Like we belong. Let's put it forward just a little bit. Oh, stop. Ah, beautiful. Look at that. Just like we belong here. Let's get this. Oh. I'm rolling. Let's put that parking brake on, shall we? Let's get a screenshot of that. Well, very nice. We have made it to Las Vegas International Airport. We're going to shut this plane down. Oh man, what is this view that it's giving me here? Like, what's happening? Oh, have I? I like ran into the truck, and it's like it's showing me that I ran into the truck. Is that possible? That's funny. Well, ain't that a thing? What in the world? That is absolutely fascinating. Oh, look at that. That's great. Anyway, I should still be able to operate the necessary instruments here, I think. We turn off the engine, we will turn off the propeller. And the last move, if we can get to it, is to get to the battery, which we just had the cover. Oh, I'm going to have to do it blind, huh? Can we hide the yoke? We can. Wow. Alright. Well, that's kind of an unexpected twist in this. Oh hey, I can't turn the battery off because I've parked inside the truck. Alright, we're gonna have to move it forward. I don't see that. Oh, now I've turned the propeller off. Oh man, alright. Oh, I didn't expect that. Let's see. Yeah, we should be able to. We gotta spin the propeller back up. Of all things. Is it even gonna let me? Or is it already in like a shutdown? I have no idea. What would even get the propeller to move? The real answer, of course. Oh, if I could get to the battery, it's right next to this. Oh, there it is. Did it let me turn it off? No. Well, isn't that a trip right there? It's like I can't finish. Oh, is that right there? That's the one I want. Is the battery. It should be right here. There it is. That's gonna end the flight at long last. Well, alright. That is gonna do it for tonight's stream. I think I might still mess around with some stuff afterward, but I think I'm gonna stop streaming at this point and see if anybody else is doing any group flying that I can hop into. Thank you for joining, watching, listening, whatever you were doing alongside me tonight. I appreciate it, and look forward to third leg of this trip, which will take us through Death Valley and on to San Diego. We'll start right here at McCarran International Airport next time. So until then, take care.